OpenAI or Google or whoever makes claims about their models. If OpenAI says they've achieved AGI, well, there's no way that anyone externally can go in and validate that other than just be a user. But
Right.
with DeepSeek, because it's open source,
Yep.
any claim that they make, someone can actually download the model, test it, and
Yep.
prove that whatever happened, whatever they claim is true. Welcome to Practical AI, everybody. My name's Jeff. I'm here with Peter Lynn. Practical AI is brought to you by Pocket AI. Pocket AI is a tool you can use to edit the weights of your model. With Pocket AI, you can prune over 60% of the weights in your models while increasing accuracy. Peter, a little story popped up. I mean, this is DeepSeek week, right? Everything's
Yep.
DeepSeek all the time. But a story popped up out of California at Berkeley. Tell us a
Yep.
little bit about what the Berkeley folks did this week and why it's important.
So someone at Berkeley downloaded the paper and was able to reproduce the claims. The big claim from DeepSeek was their model was able to improve itself without additional human intervention. So prior to this, if someone wanted to train a better model and make it better at reasoning, you'd have to go in, you would have to prompt engineer it to tell it, okay, spend more time, break down the problem, think through the solution before you generate the answer and spit it out. DeepSeek was able to actually tweak the training so that it actually on its own figured out how to improve itself without additional human intervention. So that's the aha moment that they claim in the paper.
Okay, but the sort of the big deal here is essentially that OpenAI or Google or whoever makes claims about their models,
Yep.
and the community kind of has to just assume or take on face value that they're telling the truth. That if OpenAI says they've achieved AGI, well, there's no way that anyone externally can go in and validate that other than just be a user. But
Right.
with DeepSeek, because it's open source,
Yep.
any claim that they make, someone can actually download the model, test it, and
Yep.
prove that whatever happened, whatever they claim is true. And so in this case, that's essentially what's happened, right?
Yeah. Well, because with OpenAI, they're not going to give you the model. They won't give you the source code, and they definitely don't want you to know how the model is set up. Which means that no one outside of Microsoft and OpenAI can actually verify and validate that what they claim is true, right? All we can look at is the output and go, yeah, well, it looks like it's reasoning over this math problem, but no one else can actually reproduce it because it's all closed source. DeepSeek open source the whole thing, the weights, the model, and so anyone could take what they've released, take their own data set, train it, and observe does it self improve, this aha moment, and actually produce better results without human interaction.
And they did.
Yeah, they did. Yep. And I think Hugging Face is also trying to replicate it, but from what the rumors are is they're going to try to build DeepSeek R1, but without the CCP alignment features.
What does that mean? What is the CC? Oh, you mean they're basically gonna retrain it and kind of strip out the Tiananmen Square and Taiwan stuff, essentially.
They're going to basically take the model, take the data, they're going to train it, but then they're not going to tell it to follow CCP guidelines on politics.
Got it. So they're basically just gonna recreate,
Yeah,
Gemini or OpenAI, just something
basically.
that is aligned the way that the U.S. would align it, essentially.
I mean, from the sound of it, they're going to make an open source model that's aligned as open as possible.
Well, but it seems like all these models are censored, but
Yeah,
we be able to find a bomb or whatever, or get someone's address, or you know what I mean?
right. Yep.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm going to guess they're probably not going to do that because that would be expensive. So they're just going to train a base model, just a core model.
Okay.
So it'll be open.
Okay, so back to this open source versus
Closed
closed.
source. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's entire industries that have been built up around validating
Right.
what these closed models are doing. I'm assuming that there are some people on the planet that are kind of bummed, right? While we have
Oh
this
yeah.
huge technology advancement,
Yeah.
there's people that are probably going to be out of work pretty soon.
Not out of work, but like Microsoft Research has people doing validation of GPT in O1. Well, so they're probably going to throw away the work that they've been doing for the last 6 months or 8 months because now DeepSeek is out, and Microsoft Azure now supports DeepSeek. So that means any researcher doing any kind of validation or exploration of O1, they're going to have to basically throw it away, or they're going to have to modify what their research plan was and add in any additional insights from DeepSeek because it would be pointless for them. Because if you started a project 6 months ago to try to prove something, right? If you continue that experiment for another 6 months and you release a paper, it's going to be useless because it's after DeepSeek's paper.
Yeah. Do you think Google or Apple, for that matter, I mean, they've been sort of in the back seat of at least the LLM side of
Yeah.
this. Do you think one
Yeah.
of them will just take DeepSeek's model and just start from there and just kind of
Oh yeah.
move on from their
Absolutely.
old stuff?
Yeah. I mean, on Twitter, a few, I believe it was Google AI engineers actually started to play with it, and they were positive on it. So clearly, someone over at or a team of Google AI people are actually trying to build on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So what, now that you've gotten to kind of sit in this for, 5 days or so, a little less than a week, what's, what's the major outcome of this, in terms of what dent does this put in the big boys? What does this do to
Yeah.
NVIDIA? What does this do to the technology advancement? You've kind of had a little bit of time. What do you think?
Well, I think if we go back to the summer of last year, Eric Schmidt, Mark Andreessen, a few other people, the big VC guys were all saying China is 2 years behind. Right. So that was the persistent or consistent message that they were trying to portray because they were trying to get the U.S. government to do this, fun AI data center. And so their messaging was China's behind. We need to keep our advantage. We need the government funding to build data centers, give us more power, give us, do everything, give us your money, give us the public money so we can enrich ourselves more. But now that DeepSeek's out, well, they're all kind of wrong. So they got to eat crow.
Okay. And where do you think this heads now? Do you think these companies are going to be out of business, or they're just going to do something different?
No, they're not a business, but whatever work they were doing basically is going to be tossed out. Whatever they did the last 6 months,
And
you
then
just got to toss it out.
what about NVIDIA? Where do they end up in this whole thing?
So NVIDIA, so actually this is good because that means they'll sell more hardware.
So it seems like everything's good for NVIDIA. Like, doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah. Yep.
And then what
Well,
about Apple?
because it's smaller, it's faster. You can deploy in more places, do more things. So that means more people are going to buy more GPUs.
Yeah. And what about Apple? What do you think about what do you think they'll do with this?
I think Apple now doesn't need to go to OpenAI for a license. So that deal that Tim had made with OpenAI and Sam for last year, right? Now it's not so important.
Wow. This DeepSeek thing's getting deeper every day, it seems like.
Yeah. Yep.
Good. Well, this is a good discussion. We'll have to keep an eye on this. It'd be fun to talk about some other topics, but I think we got to stay on this one until we reach the end of DeepSeek, or at least the end of the news cycle. So,
Yeah, no, it's gonna stay here for a while, and it's probably gonna keep ramping up.
well, and it's open source, and open source always wins in the end, doesn't it?
Well, OpenAI is built on open source.
Yeah,
They stole
exactly.
the world's data and open source, and then
Yeah.
said, you know, don't steal our stuff. It's like, well, you stole everyone else's stuff to begin with. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
OpenAI was open source and they closed it after they stole everything. Yeah, love it.
Yep.
All right, Peter, thanks. Good discussion. We'll keep the news coming. Thanks again for watching and listening. You can always follow us on Spotify. We will be here back next week with another topic. Thanks, everybody.